Okay, guys, today we're going to have a look at the different ways your brain can be influenced. And to begin, I would like to tease your brain just a little bit. I need you to really concentrate on the next slides. Maybe some of you are familiar with Apollo Robbins' brain games, and this is one of them. It's amazing. It's called the box experiment. You're going to see 12 boxes, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to make a few choices. You can trust your intuition. If you do, at the end, once we've eliminated all the boxes, there should just remain one with $1,000 in it. And I would like you to find it. Are you ready? You need to really concentrate. Okay, here are your boxes. I want you to choose a number between 3 and 12, please. Okay, so once you've chosen your number between 3 and 12, I want you to go to that number in your mind. Choose it and imagine you're there. If it's going too quickly for you, please put on pause or go back to the video to make sure you understand. Okay, right, now you should be on your box, so I'm going to eliminate the boxes I think you're not on. Okay, so I know you're not on box 1 or 2 because you were not allowed to choose them, so let's burn them. Okay, now I want you to go back the exact same number of times, so you're moving anti-clockwise, dans le sens inverse des aiguilles d'une montre. I don't want you to count the boxes I've burnt. Okay, so for example, if you had chosen box 3, you need to move 3 times anti-clockwise. So if you were on box 3, you are now on box 10. If you need to pause the video now to make sure you count properly and are on the right box, please do. Okay, you should now be on the right box. So I'm going to eliminate a few now. So I'm going to bet you're not on box number 11 and you're not on box number 6. So let's burn them too. Okay, careful. This is your final decision. I want you to move 4 times, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. It's your choice. Okay? And again, don't count the boxes I've burnt. They're not there anymore. Okay? So, you need to move 4 times, either clockwise, donc soit dans le sens des aiguilles d'une montre, or anti-clockwise, dans le sens inverse des aiguilles d'une montre. Okay, if you need to put the video on pause for you to make your choice and move to the right box, please do. Okay, you should now know on what box you are, so I'm going to eliminate a few. So, I bet you're not on box number 4. Let's burn it. You're probably not on number 3 either. Burn. I can't possibly imagine you're on box 9 or 10, so let's burn them too. I don't think you're on box 7 or 8, so burn them as well. Okay, we only have 2 boxes left, so you must be on number 12 or number 5. Number 5 contained the money, and that's where you should be. If it's the case, well done. You've made the right choices. Or have you? Because, in fact, whatever your choices were, you should all be on box number 5. And this is what we call the illusion of choice. Of course, this exercise rests on a simple mathematical formula. But you need to keep in mind that advertisers and marketers use the same kind of formulas to manipulate your choices. Imagine the number of times you thought you were making a sound and personal decision, when in fact you had just been manipulated into thinking so. So what I suggest we do today is analyze a few ads together and see what's going on. Okay, this is the first ad we're going to focus on. So I know you can't really read the details, so I'm going to go through it with you. First thing I want you to do is I want you to write down your first impressions. What do you think in the first few seconds of seeing this ad? I then want you to try and describe the advert in detail, please. Once you've done that, I would like you to try and find what type of target audience the advert is aimed at. Target audience, c'est le public cible. Okay? And try and find what type of techniques do you reckon they chose here. Maybe some of you don't know the difference between a sports car and a sporty car. So, a sports car is a real sports car. It's like a Ferrari. A sporty car is a car that looks like a sports car, but it isn't really. Like, I don't know, to give you a French example, la 206cc is a sporty car. Okay, another element that might be interesting for you is what is written in the text. I know you can't really read it, but it's mostly packed with technical details. This is something you should take into consideration when you're trying to think about the techniques. You may now pause the video for you to do this exercise. Okay, so what could we say in terms of description? Well, the first thing we see is probably the car and the slogan. So the photo, the perspective in which the car is taken makes it look even sportier. They chose the colour red. It's quite flashy. It also reminds us of sports cars in general. The slogan is really attractive because it tells you can basically have a luxury car for a much lower price. And we also know that a lot of technical details are given about the car, about its engine, about its power, even its price. So it's an advert that gives you a lot of information. Right. Bear this in mind when you'll be comparing it with another one in a second. Right, so this is also an advert for cars in a very, very different style. Okay, same goes here. I would like you to describe the advert in detail before you begin. Okay, also jot down your first impressions and then also try and describe the techniques that are used in this advert and try and determine what the target audience is. Okay, you can now pause the video to do this exercise and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're going to try and describe what we see in detail. So, obviously a very pretty woman. That's the first thing we see, almost the only thing we see. So an attractive woman. Also, we probably could say she looks naked. Okay, it's only suggested, but she looks naked. At least her shoulders are. Third thing, the position of her hands, especially the one on the right, would tend to make us believe that she's lying down. Okay, so a beautiful naked woman lying down. Then if you have a look at the way her face is positioned, the way she looks at you, and the way she smiles, we can go a little bit further. Because actually the way her face is positioned, the way she looks at you, is actually described in many books about body language. And it should actually remind you of quite a number of pictures taken from two famous beauty and maybe political icons, Marilyn Monroe and Lady Diana. Well, both in very different styles. Maybe Lady Diana in a less sexy way, but still, if you find old pictures of her, you will find something very similar to this advert in particular. And it is said that this position, this sort of female position, sort of half looking away, half looking at you, is something people find very appealing. This just goes to show that no detail is left unconsidered here. Even those mini details count and have been thoroughly thought through. If on our previous advert we had a massive photo of a car, where's the car on this advert? No car. All we get to see is the very famous BMW logo. Right, what about technical information? None. Okay. The slogan, right, I've had to rewrite it in yellow on the right because I'm not sure you can read it properly. And this is what it says. It's quite surprising. You know you're not the first, but do you really care? Okay, so in fact, this advert was for second-hand cars. A second-hand car is une voiture d'occasion. So this might help you understand the slogan a bit better. So to sum up, a beautiful naked girl, probably lying down, bedroom eyes. However, we know nothing about the car. We don't even get to see the car. All we have is the logo. And the slogan is a sexual pun, which many would consider quite a sexist pun. Right. Please continue analysing this advert and also try and think about the target audience. Okay, to help you, here are both adverts side by side so you can appreciate the different techniques that are used, and we'll discuss them in further detail in a minute. You can pause the video if you need to complete your notes or continue analysing them. Okay, so for this first advert, it's what we call a central route to persuasion. Why? Well, because this approach favours facts, statistics, and arguments. And we can see that on this advert, we have a lot of facts, as we said, a lot of technical details, numbers. We've got a picture of the car, so we know quite a lot. And in terms of audiences, this requires an involved audience. Why? Because the target has to have a certain amount of knowledge concerning cars, because they needed to appreciate the details that are given. Okay, for example, I have no technical knowledge about cars, so I'm not the best target here because I can't really appreciate all the information they're giving me. The BMW advert. This is what we call a peripheral route to persuasion. Why do we say peripheral? Because the techniques used and what is shown is actually peripheral to the subject. It usually uses seductive settings, alluring music, or, and it's the case here, gorgeous models. And this is a technique that obviously works best with an audience that is not highly committed. So, about the target audience, I think we can say it's men, but to be more precise, it's a group of men who don't need to know much about the specificities of the product here. It's simply men who can identify to what is suggested. Okay guys, we've covered central and peripheral routes, and we're now going to have a look at our last approach, which is fear appeals. If you need to take more notes or go back and listen to some parts again, please do. I want you to read the information in your booklet about two famous US presidents, President Johnson and President Reagan. Okay, this is important because you need some historical background in order to appreciate the rest of the lesson.